This is IECE Group Network, and you are watching Saurabh Mishra Notes Podcast.
That's the major difference. So if we talk about electric vehicles, we mostly talk about the power source of the vehicle, and that is the battery.
Okay.
Now that battery can be communicating with thousand other different things in the car. That's another differentiations of how many types of electric vehicles we have. But the major difference would be the power source. We are going for electric vehicle. It's just not about sustainability. It's also about a longer run. So we have mid-cap companies working on that, and the one that I know, Esnito Solutions, is working for basically e-rickshaws and e-scooters, so that they can have swapping stations. And it's an IIT Madras incubation project itself.
Hello and welcome to Saurabh Mishra Notes. You are listening Expert Talk with Saurabh Mishra, powered by IECE Digital and Lekhini. Expert Talk is the show where we call experts from different fields so that you can learn something new from their journey. Today our guest is Akshita Bajaj. She is the expert in the field of electric vehicle. Electric vehicles are not just the new wave of the future. They are saving our climate and lives. In today's episode, we will discuss. In future episodes, you will also learn advanced concepts of electric vehicles. Because at Saurabh Mishra Notes, we believe if you stop learning, you stop winning. सीखना बन तो जीतना बन. तो सीखते रहिए और जीतते रहिए सौरभ मिश्रा नोट्स के साथ. Stay tuned. Hello Akshita. Welcome to Expert Talk with Saurabh Mishra. First time you are coming, so welcome. Okay, so Akshita, you are expert in the field of electric vehicle. You are working in this industry from many years. So how you started your journey?
Well, my journey actually started in 2011, if I have to be very honest. After graduation, there's always a struggle of finding the job and getting into the industry. So it all started from there. So I am a graduate on electrical engineering, and from there I jumped directly into a pipeline industry. I worked there for quite some time, and while working there, I got to know a lot of basics about pipeline and refineries, but that wasn't really my area. So I tried looking into my masters. I had a few options open at that time, and once I got my options available, I just jumped into my masters, and I did my master's in electronics and communication, which proved to be very useful now if I see. Um, but after, when I was doing masters, I had an opportunity where I could do my thesis for 6 months in a company, and for me that was my starting point in the career. So I started with my thesis project in Fiat and Chrysler Automotive, which has a subsidiary here in Gurgaon, which is Magneti Marelli. And from there, it kind of kicked off because after 6 months of completion of my thesis and my training period, summer training period, I was offered a job there. So I started from there gradually, but after 2011, there was a good period of time till this happened. So this started when I started my thesis, it was January 2015. So you see, there's a 4 years of struggle period along the way. And once I got into the industry, then things took up a notch. I started with Magneti. I worked on various projects there, and from there I made a decision, or probably it was something that was supposed to happen at that time, that I wanted to learn a language, or I wanted to learn something new. out of that job. So I used to dedicate my weekdays in teaching while I was working, and then on weekends I used to take like language courses or something or the other new and different that could enhance my profile. And little did I know at that time that 2.5 years and 3 years of continuous struggle with the first stint itself would land me a job where I am right now. And majorly it was because of those weekend courses that I took that gave me gave me at least a reaching point with Mercedes Benz today.
Great.
So after I after 3.5 years or 4 years in Magneti Marelli, I switched to Harman Technologies for an off-road vehicle project. And there I was working with John Deere basically. I was an off-site engineer at that point of time. But that stint didn't last long. But it was fruitful because obviously I've worked on cars for 3.5 years. I wanted to know how the off-road vehicles work. And they're particularly a little different from on-road vehicles with respect to all the characteristics of safety and everything. So that stint didn't last long, but that was the time, or maybe that was correct time at when I was working with John Deere. I got a call from Mercedes Benz to join Mercedes Benz for an electric mobility project, which was kind of interesting because by the time I got that call, I have never thought of even moving towards the electric domain of automobile industry. And Mercedes jumped into that almost 10 years back. And I was still working with something very relative to body control module of a car, which was again a very basic sort of system on both electric vehicles and non-electric vehicles. So when I got the opportunity, it was very interesting because they have seen my profile and they have called me basically. It was majorly based on the fact that I have done German language course and I knew German culture and how could I adapt from there. So my interview was also taken in German for that matter. So it was kind of interesting to see that my testing background of past 4.5, 5 years, and then I jumped to e-drive or e-mobility sector altogether with no knowledge of the background whatsoever. But since I got an opportunity and I was pretty much sure that this is going to be the best decision I'm going to make for my career. And till now, it has proven it to be like that. So, yeah, here and there, a lot of things have happened. And each decision I've made every step of the way for past 6 years have landed me where I am right now. Whether it's a small weekend course or whether it's teaching somebody or whether it's just taking a Python course or even a language course for that matter, that has somewhere proven fruitful in the terms of
Okay,
getting
great.
a job and
So you
starting
are
and
talking
making a journey
about
for myself.
weekends, whatever things you have learned. So can you talk about those things like what are the courses you have done, or how many languages you know, by the way? Hindi I know, English you know. Yeah. Huh.
Hindi is like the mother tongue. Hindi, English, Sanskrit. Then I am German qualified. I have completed B1, so it's like part professional, reading, writing, and speaking. And then I know Italian a little bit because of friends that I have picked up from my first company itself.
Okay, great.
So yeah, yeah. So these are the languages, spoken languages I know. Apart from that, I have a little bit hands-on on C, C++ right now. And for programming, yeah, Python is something that I'm looking forward in next few months. But I have done quite a hands-on trainings on Python as well. And MATLAB scripts are obviously my part of the job that I had to do. So that's again something that I have done. But let me just put it out there. It's never waste. I don't think it's a waste even to dedicate weekends for studying something
Yeah.
that's not respective to your job or that is respective to your job. So I remember my first 3.5 years, I didn't have even a single weekend free. Not even weekdays. I used to finish off my job at 5:30. My cab used to drop me to the nearest place. From there, I used to go to a house to teach somebody. I used to tutor. Monday to Friday, they used to drop back me back home at 10 o'clock after I did my tuitions. And from there, the money that I earned from my tutoring sessions, I used to spend all that money learning something on the weekend, and that continued for good 2.5 years. Because let me tell you, German language is not easy.
Yeah.
And then you have to appear for the exam from Goethe Institute itself in Delhi, every 6 months. So there were 3 semesters, and then there 3 semesters have 4 different examinations. So just imagine the number of rounds you're going through in the examination. So that took me 2.5 years of my job. So I probably would have enjoyed my first 6 months in the industry, but after that, no, I don't think.
Yes.
Because I was very career focused and oriented, and
Yes.
there's a time when the first 10 years are the decisions that you make for next 10 years in the industry. That's how I see it. And yeah, I
Yeah,
think
great.
that's proven it to be so far so good.
Yeah.
Good.
And
So,
yeah,
yeah. So, Akshita, you
That's-
have
that-
spent
that
a good
has been
amount
my
of time
journey.
and you have a very good idea about the electric vehicle industry. So, this is first, our viewers wants to know what is electric vehicle when I'm talking about what is electric vehicle.
Yeah. So you
Hmm.
I'll speak in a
Yes.
layman language. You have a robotic car.
Yes.
Okay. Let's take a toy.
Hmm.
It's nothing
Yes.
but a sample for an electric vehicle on a larger scale.
Yes.
And I tell you why, because it's the main power source of that small toy, it's a battery.
Hmm.
Now you multifold that entire toy 100 times.
Yes.
You have an electric car.
Hmm.
Okay, so normal cars and electric cars, the major difference between them is the power source, which is driving them. Okay, so for the normal cars, the petrol and diesel cars are fueled by engines, internal combustion engines, which are which are basically gasoline engines. And your electric vehicles, pure or plug-in hybrids, doesn't matter. They have a battery source. They run on the batteries. Okay, which makes them more cleaner, which makes them more accurate, which makes them have a larger range itself, except for the charging time. Let's not focus on the charging time, right? So that's the major difference. So if we talk about electric vehicles, we mostly talk about the power source of the vehicle, and that is the battery.
Okay.
Now that battery can be communicating with thousand other different things in the car. That's another differentiations of how many types of electric vehicles we have. But the major difference would be the power source in that case. So just imagine a small toy car into 10 times or 100 times for that matter,
Yes.
running on the road, because that's exactly how the model works.
Yes.
That's exactly how the transmission and the propulsion in the car works. Okay, so that's the major difference, and that's what an electric vehicle is. A battery, battery is the powerhouse
So,
of the
what
entire
are
vehicle,
the
so to
different
say.
companies are there into, especially in India, who are dealing in electric vehicle segment?
Nowadays.
Well, there are a lot, large scale and small scale, if I have to add. But to name a few, we have Mercedes Benz, we have Tata, we have Mahindra, we have ZF, and we have Fiat. So we also have Maruti, Hyundai, Honda, and Toyota, who are the major players right now when we talk about electric vehicles. But there are also, let's not forget, the small scale and the mid cap companies here, because they are the ones who are actually doing something for the common man. For example, if I have to take an example of a company which I have personally come to love at this point of time, is one of the companies which is a very homegrown IIT Madras incubation project itself is turned into an entire company right now. And that's the company name is Esmeto Solutions.
Okay.
So this particular company is an e-mobility company in its heart and core, but their target area is a little different. That their target area is to have battery swapping stations. So let me just go a step back and explain you what that means. If I talk about electric vehicles, we definitely know that the battery is the power source and that battery needs recharging.
Yes.
Okay. Now, considering the infrastructure we have in India at the moment, we know that we don't have many charging stations, and we also know that we have something in a concurrent space which is coming up to develop more charging stations and to develop more highways that have charging stations on the go for longer mileage. But with respect to the infrastructure, we're also trying to have a solution where we can have a battery that is lasting long as well. We don't want to charge every 6 hours. We want to charge every 8 hours. That's also a problem statement for us.
Yes.
Okay. And now the companies like Esmito Solutions comes in place where they can, or they are willing to, at least for an economical price range, you can swap your batteries, you can give discharged batteries, and you can take a charged battery into the car or into any vehicle for that matter. And then you can actually have your journey go ahead. So their industry, the EV, they're producing on the fact that electric vehicles, how they function on the road. That's also important. We don't want to lose the batteries on the go, and we definitely don't want to have a low mileage than a gas propulsion car or a normal vehicle, petrol or a diesel vehicle. That's not something we are looking for. If you're going for electric vehicle, it's just not about sustainability. It's also about a longer run. So we have mid-cap companies working on that, and the one that I know, Esmito Solutions, is working for basically e-rickshaws and e-scooters, so that they can have swapping stations. And it's an IIT Madras incubation project itself, which is kind of interesting to see, because when we talk about electric mobility, we constrained our minds to just cars, but that's not just the industry. Automobile industry has cars, scooters, vans, bus, trucks, and whatever the hell
Everything.
can get us from one point to another. Even if it's an e-bike, it's the part of the industry.
Yes.
So large players are definitely working towards the cars sector, I would say, but we also have small sectors where we need people looking into it. And these e-rickshaws and e-scooters are the ones that are going to come into picture for India made as a major player, because we need to cater to the
Great.
economical structure of India as well, which means half of the entire population is going to look
Yes,
forward for
Ola is the
something
recent one
as
who
good as
started in
Ola Electric
electric
right
scooter
now.
segment. Yes, yes, and I think they are the world's largest center they have opened. I think in every 2 seconds they are generating a new electric vehicle.
Yeah, interestingly, they have, even if they have a certain problem they're dealing with as of now, as a company has this challenge to overcome. But I could see the future of electric scooter being there, because let's face it, Honda Activa, for example, it started when I was graduating in 2011. The price of Honda Electric was 35,000. Okay. It's 2021. The price has gone up to 89,000
Yes.
each piece. Okay. I had 10,000 more, and why not go for something sustainable, carbon neutral, sustainable, and clean, which is Ola Electric.
Yes.
Okay.
It's
I'm not
eco-friendly.
branding here, but I'm not branding here, but I'm just putting a solution out there. It's there. And and then you have companies like Esmito working for that battery replacement. And just imagine, on a highway of 25 kilometers, if you have 5 battery swapping stations and you have Ola Electric compatible to that battery, it's a dream for
Yes.
any engineer at this
Yes.
point,
Yes.
I would say. So yeah, I mean, I understand that the government and the companies like Tata, the homegrown brands like Mahindra, are working towards the infrastructure development with the government all together, creating highways like the recent one, which I think we discussed about the Chandigarh highway, Delhi
Yes.
Chandigarh highway, having charging stations. It's not only going to be beneficial to the ones who own an EV, but also to the ones who don't own an EV but have something or the other to do with the electricity consumption itself.
Yes.
The more we have the charging stations, people can save electricity as well. So there's an entire tariff management system that comes into picture when you charge a car.
Yeah.
You can actually take the electricity as well as give the electricity back to the grid if people don't know about that system. We don't have that in India, but that's a possibility, and Toyota is leading in that possibility around the globe. They
Okay.
have hundreds of patents on the same technology with different algorithms working day and night.
Hmm.
Okay, so it's not just the software part of it, it's the hardware part of it also, and I think people should be aware that it's going to only make our lives better. That's how I feel it, at least.
Yeah.
I am seeing
Great.
single.
So, for our viewers, I want to say today India's first highway developed for the electric vehicle. It's the Delhi Chandigarh highway. Every 25 kilometers, they have developed charging points. So now, and it's a solar based also. So now our electric vehicles can run on those highways. We have all the facilities which are required to run a properly electric vehicle. So that's a great initiative.
Yeah, that's a great accomplishment for India itself
Yes.
to have something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's a long time coming, I would say, considering
Hmm.
the market is already developed and how Mahindra has already launched
Hmm.
its first uh, electric vehicle long back. This is something we are looking forward to, and if possible, having a grid management system in place with companies like Power Grid,
Hmm.
which are the largest electricity distribution companies, plants like NTPC, but the actual grid management of the distribution sector is coming from Power Grid Corporation itself,
Hmm.
which is quite fascinating because that is also automated right now. And if they could combine, if if the current scenario where we're talking about smart buildings, the corridor project in India that we have for smart cities, which includes smart buildings itself, it could be very beneficial if the distribution system somehow can incorporate a a discharge of some electricity from vehicle to the grid back to itself, because that is possible. We use grid aggregators for that, and it's quite fascinating how the system works. So any smart building with any, even a single charging station, can save up to a lot of save a lot of electricity for everybody by giving it back on its peak period. So I think the entire system works beautifully if you see.
Yes. And
Yeah, I mean,
it's a economic also for the people, like you are
it's very
going.
economic.
Yeah. If you
It's
are
very
going
economic.
50 kilometers, if you are running an electric car in 50 kilometers, I think it costs you only 70 rupees. If you are running with a normal vehicle, it will give you a cost of, I think, 250 to 300 rupees. So it's
Yes, and let's
economical
not
plus eco-friendly also. So you are giving up
yes,
to
yes,
your nature also. It's a nature friendly. It
yes.
is good for your environment and everything, and for your money also.
Yes, absolutely. I think because in the future, what we are going to see, we already know how the climate is changing. Let's
Yes.
face the facts. We and companies are focused on carbon neutral emissions. Okay, so if when I talk about carbon neutral emissions, each gram of carbon that is released because of the gasoline engines and normal cars is raising the temperature of the earth altogether. Okay, so when we talk about something like of electric mobility sector, carbon neutral emissions are single-handedly one topic that they are leading right now. And it's going to be cost effective also, because let's say I'll just take a small example. Let's say you have a mobile, okay, and you charge that mobile from 5 to 6 p.m. Now, what if the user has the entire data, like from the grid itself, saying that from 5 to 6 p.m. it's an offload period, it's not a peak period. So any electricity consumed will be charged for 10 rupees, for example. Okay. So if you say that the grid is providing from 5 to 6 p.m. your electricity for 1 hour for rupees 10, and you know that your charger can charge up to 50% in 1 hour.
Yeah.
Your mobile. I'm taking a mobile, the same scenario can happen in the car, and it happens.
Yes.
So a person has a choice to charge the mobile from 5 to 6 p.m. at 10 rupees, or from 7 to 8 p.m., which is the peak period for each Indian household, for 7 to 8 from 7 to 8 p.m. at rupees 20. Now, what a person can do, charge it 50% and then charge it later for 20 rupees for 50%, so that he doesn't have to charge entirely for 100% of the charging cycle, which might take more than an hour.
That's
So
great.
this kind of tariff management can happen in the cars.
Okay.
You know your offload periods and you know your peak load periods. And you can decide based on the tariff rates of the offload period and the peak period whether you want to charge your car or not. Considering your charging stations are nearby, or considering you have a home charger. We are also looking towards the home charger aspect of it. Okay. So that's how cost effective it can be. If you're able to save even an hour of charging just because you manage your charging time properly.
Yeah,
Great.
great.
So-
Yeah, future is bright. There is no doubt. And what about the safety of electric vehicle? How batteries are safe? How these vehicles are safe? And I want to discuss about the speed also. Like any difference you will get in a speed and safety kind of point of view.
Do have a different transmission, I would not lie. It depends. You have a single ratio transmission, or you have a normal transmission for plug-in hybrids. That depends on the configuration of the electric drive, honestly, which is again a little tedious to explain in a layman language. But let me see if I can let me see if I can try to put it. So with respect to the speed, in a normal car, if we have 5 gears, including the reverse, here in EVs it might be a little different. You might not have 5 gears, but you have something called as park, neutral, shift, and drive. These are like 4 common ones that you will see in most of the cars. And the speed control is definitely based on the factor whether it's a plug-in hybrid, whether it's an only battery sourced EV, which is again just a pure electric vehicle, or it's a mild hybrid which works along 2 motors or 3 motors, or each 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 side has a different motor. So based on the configurations of the electric vehicles, the speed might vary. That's for sure. And but the thing is, in each of the case, I think each of the companies look forward to give minimal torque losses in that case, even if they're using a single motor in the front section, and no and a single motor in the last section of the car, or they are looking for double motors on each tire. That doesn't matter. The entire configuration will be managed in a way that there are minimum losses when actually the car is propulsing on the road. So it depends. It's a configuration specific thing. So we have various kind of configuration that works for electric vehicles. It's not just one thing. You have micro, you have mild, you have battery electric vehicle, you have plug-in hybrids. Then you just have normal electric vehicles also. So it depends on the configuration that the company or the car manufacturer is choosing to make. and based on the configuration, then you have the placing of the if it's a plug-in hybrid, you obviously have a internal combustion engine. So based on that also you have different configuration where to place the internal combustion engine, how the transmission will shift in that case. So you see, it's not just one configuration. There are different configurations, but obviously the speed is a little controlled. It's not going to be as easy because we are looking at the mileage also, and looking at the car safety aspect of it. Of course, there's a big battery on the chassis of the car itself. Okay, so for the safety aspect, we are looking at many testing criterias that come into picture when we talk about the safety of a electric vehicle. Not just from the sparks or the arkings that are going to happen when you charge your car, but internally also maintaining the temperature, getting thermal cooling, having the entire airflow system proper in place, so that the components within that entire system with respect to the battery side doesn't get static charging also. I think those are the kind of safety precautions we are looking at when we talk about batteries. Plus, the major factor with battery safety is the leakage.
Okay.
The leakage of the charge. I think that's one of the major factors. So how you house the battery and how what are the combinations what are the combinations of the fuel cells that you're making to house that battery is the major factor here. A key point to look at. Okay, so when we talk about the safety, it's not just about the crash test we see now and then BMW, Mercedes, BMW or Audi performing, but we are also looking in the internal components of the car, whether it's a converter, whether if it's a small converter itself in the car, we are looking how the converter would not get destroyed in the process of charging. Okay, and if you're charging, we are looking of how we can avoid the heating of the cable itself. The people who are actually making the charging stations are basically looking at two key aspects here: the flow of charge and the cable strength. How high temperature the cable can take. But let's face it, if we are on a highway in a country like India where it boils up to 47 degrees even in summers, if the cables are not supporting that, if the cables are getting, let me just tell you, if the cables get heated, the charging cycle will increase in time, not decrease in time. And that's entirely a concept I think we should discuss about later on maybe, but that's the concept that is also there for your electric mobile chargers if people are not aware. Okay, because it's a current. It's basically an electric pulse. It's a current that is working even in mobile chargers. The more the mobile gets heated, the longer is the charging period. So that's why it is advised to not keep your chargers plugged in all the time, and it is also advised to switch off your mobile when you're charging it so that the charging period is shorter. Because the more the cable heats or the entity itself which is charging is heating, the charging time is going to be a little longer. So with respect to the charging stations, we have sun which is already heating up the entire system. Okay, and then we also look at the charging current, which also as a byproduct heats the cable, because let's face it, it's electricity. If it's running for a longer period of time and we don't have a cooling system in place, it's going to heat up. To avoid melting, we have to place the cooling systems for the car and also for the charging station. Okay. So that is also one of the safety aspect, not from the car's perspective, from also the charging station's perspective, that we need to keep in mind.
Lot of things.
It's not just the crash test. It's a lot of smaller things in the car when we talk about electric vehicles that makes entire difference to the entire car. So that's I think safety wise.
Yeah.
One of the examples I've put it out there, but let's see how.
Great, Akshita, it's a good knowledge. So viewers, you have seen how good are electric vehicles for us, and they are very eco-friendly, and our expert talk about the electric vehicle industry and what is the future about the electric vehicles. In the new future episodes of our show, we will call Akshita for talk about the more on the electric vehicle. And if you have any more questions on that, so you can put your questions on the comment box. We will try to answer you as much as we can. So please subscribe our channel and watch Saurav Mishra Notes, because in upcoming segments we are mostly coming on the electric vehicle segment. So Akshita will talk about more on the electric vehicle. Thank you, Akshita. Thanks for coming in our show. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay.